Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. But guys, another team builder here for week 6 of the WBE. The Minnesota Vikavolts are taking on the Pittsburgh Pichus and Coach Nexus in an epic week 6 showdown. The battle's gonna be going up tomorrow, but we've got our in-depth team breakdowns here. We're gonna talk about our team, what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it, and how I'm gonna prepare for Nexus squad. Be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe if you guys are new, as I do post Pokemon videos every single day. We've got our battle stuff, so get excited for the battle tomorrow. I've got some pretty heat sets this week. I know a lot of people were mad about my Skarmory. That wasn't so heat of the week last week, but we're sitting at 5-0, man. I'm really proud of how we played this season. I put a lot of time into preparation. I want to go undefeated. That is my goal at this point in the season, but we got to take things one match at a time, and Nexus is up next. He is 2-3, so he's had a bit of a rough start, but he's got a pretty cool team that we're going to talk about in this little breakdown here. So hope you guys are excited, and let's jump into it. And like I said, I've got some really cool sets this week that I think you guys are going to like. So he's got a Zapdos. I think in this matchup, Zapdos comes defensive, if I had to guess, as a way to check Talonflame. But I could also see it being offensive with like Ancient Power and things like that. If he brings it though, like I said, it's gonna probably be either Life Orb or just like leftovers. Maybe a berry, like a Yachi Berry. I can see Roost on it, maybe Defog, maybe Hidden Power Grass, Volt Switch or U-Turn, something like that. Goodra is a very unique bring in this one. It's very specially defensive. I wouldn't be surprised though if Nexus tried to switch things up and bring a Choice Scarf for Goodra, something I would definitely be mindful of going into this game. And the reason why is Nexus' team as a whole is pretty slow. His fastest Pokemon being Zapdos and Medicham, so he doesn't really have things to outspeed a lot of my fast Pokemon like Manectric. He can run a max speed Goodra that could potentially try to outspeed Manectric, expecting me to just not run a lot of speed. So there's some things like that. I can see like an Earthquake set. It does get Power Whip. It can run Draco Meteor and Dragon Pulse and things like that. Sludge Bomb is its only way to really deal with Florges, and it can also carry Iron Tail, although that's a very high miss move. Tangrowth, the regenerating grass type, very difficult to take down. If he brings it, I could see it being Assault Vest. I don't really think Sleep Powder makes a lot of sense here. I think Tangrowth has kind of a bad matchup though when you think about like Kyurem and Venusaur and Skarmory and Talonflame and Pokemon like that. So I'm not necessarily expecting it to come, but if it does come, it would probably carry Ancient Power, maybe Giga Drain, Knockoff, Earthquake, something like that. Doublade is really only switching to Kyurem Black. We've seen this kind of theme happen throughout the season. Not many teams have good switches to Kyurem Black, and Doublade is really his best answer. Eviolite, defensive Doublade with Gyro Ball or Iron Head, you know, maybe Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, potentially Toxic, maybe Substitute, maybe Destiny Bond or something like that, but that's what I'm definitely expecting the Doublade. Swampert I can see very much so coming. If it comes, it's likely the Stealth Rock setter. Scald, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, maybe Toxic. Mirror Coat could be a really cool strategy with Rindo Berry, trying to take a grass type move from Manectric and then mirror coat it back and one-shot me. That's something that I could see him doing. Kind of works out really well against like especially offensive Kyurem can take those hits. You'll see my strategy involves actually making sure that Swampert is weakened, so we'll talk about our core strategy once I talk about my team, but I definitely think Swampert comes. Exploud is pretty scary, probably one of the bigger threats on the team, just because it can be Scarf or Specs, and I don't know which until I take a hit, and that's really scary, so I have to really scout that out early game if he does bring Exploud. I'm hoping he just doesn't bring it, because it makes my life easier. Specs Exploud actually runs through my team. I don't really have the best switch-ins for that, and Scarf Exploud's kind of annoying because it outspeeds a lot of my team, and can just freely click Boom Burst, and while I do have a really good Pokemon in Florges to take that hit, it can still do, it's a 3-shot, I think, so we'll have to be mindful there. Magmortar is a pretty decent fire type with great coverage. If it comes, it's probably Z-move, but there is a very unique set with Belly Drum, Substitute, Salackberry, or just Mach Punch on that thing, so I have to be very mindful of this potential Magmortar and what it could bring against me. If he does bring Magmortar, I have to just immediately be mindful of a Belly Drum set, although I think the special set is probably better against me. Skuntank, kind of a weird bring. You immediately wouldn't think of Skuntank being that good against me, especially when I have such powerful threats, but a defogging Skuntank with maybe Flamethrower or Fire Z for Skarmory could be a thing. It could run Poison Jab or Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, even Acid Spray to try to deal with Florges, and it can also run Explosion. Clefairy, not Clefable, regular Clefairy would come with Eviolite for sure. The thing about Clefairy that makes it difficult is you can't Toxic it to wear it down, so if Clefairy does come, I'm expecting to just be simply like Moonblast, Wish or Soft Boiled, maybe Toxic, and then Stealth Rock or Protect. But definitely an annoying Pokemon. And then Mega Medicham, which is by far his biggest threat in my opinion. Mega Medicham hits incredibly hard with High Jump Kick. You always have to run the question is are you going to actually bring High Jump Kick to begin with? Because if you miss it, you pretty much lose your Medicham. But I'm expecting him to have Bullet Punch, maybe Fake Out. It's kind of on the fence. Drain Punch or High Jump Kick, maybe both. Zen Headbutt I think makes some sense. Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, some of those moves kind of fit in there. I definitely expect Bullet Punch and High Jump Kick though. I don't really have good switch-ins to High Jump Kick in general, so I could see that. So if I had to predict the 6 right now, I would say Zapdos, Goodra, Doublade, Swampert, Medicham, and then a wild card between the rest of them. I'm gonna say maybe Exploud. That would be my guess. So I think 5 out of the 6, I have a pretty good idea of what he's gonna bring. But nevertheless, let's talk about what I'm bringing and why I'm bringing it and kind of how I'm gonna go about this. I need to make sure I can handle the Medicham. I need to make sure that I can slow down the Zapdos, and then I have to have a core strategy of how I'm gonna win this game, and we'll talk about that right now. So the first thing that I thought that was good was Manectric. I talked about his team being really slow, Zapdos and Medicham being the fastest things at base 100. I can run modest Manectric, and this is why speed tiers in Draft League are so important, because it may turn to bite me, because if you bring something Scarf that I'm not expecting, that could be a problem, but generally speaking, I can run modest Manectric here without any problems, because any Scarfers are probably going to be faster than me anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and I get an extra power boost because of that, just because he doesn't have a Pokemon that's 115 speed or whatever it is, right? So anyway, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Grass for Swampert, Flamethrower for Doublade. Pretty straightforward, nothing crazy there. Once Swampert goes down, I just freely Volt Switch on the whole team, which is wonderful. I've got Lightning Rod. If Zapdos is his lead, I'm just going to Hard Switch into Manectric. That's my plan on that one. Pretty straightforward there. Catch a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt, whatever it may be. No big deal. Next Pokemon, a little bit of spice here. We're bringing Kyurem Black, which is our co-leader this season. Ice Beam, Earth Power, Sub, Roost, baby, with the Metronome. And for those who don't know what Metronome does, it gives you a 10% boost if you use the same attack more than once, and every time you use that attack thereafter, it gets a boost if you use it in succession. So if I click Ice Beam, it does Ice Beam damage. If I click Ice Beam again, in the next turn, it does 10% more. If I do it again, it gets another boost, and it continues to go and go and go and go if I just continue to spam that move. And what this does for me is it allows me to, 1, I have a Z Crystal on another Pokemon, so Ice Z didn't really make a lot of sense. 2, I kind of wanted leftovers, but I like Roost. Expert Belt's great and all, but it doesn't help in every situation. Things like Swampert, I'm not getting a boost with Expert Belt, whereas Ice Beam's really nice there. Something like Zapdos trying to roost off Ice Beam damage from me. I'm going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Same with Goodra. I'm going to continue to get stronger and stronger. For certain Pokemon like Skuntank and Exploud, if I'm spamming Ice Beam. Clefairy, if it tries to Soft Boil stall me, again, my Ice Beam is going to get stronger and stronger every single time. Sub is just wonderful on it this week, because things like Tangrowth can't even break my Substitute. Swampert is iffy to break a sub. It can with Earthquake, but nevertheless, so we have some opportunities to potentially substitute on various things, especially things that we're threatening out. So that's really good. And one thing I also want to mention is a max special defense Doublade actually can take 1 Earth or 2 Earth Powers. He'll take the first Earth Power, see it does 48%, and think, okay, I can live another Earth Power here. This is good, and then Metronome actually boosts the power of Earth Power to ensure I get the KO. I'm running a lot of bulk on this thing, max special attack, a little bit of speed. The speed is for Modest Exploud, max speed Modest Exploud. I also have 1 speed point higher than 0 speed Zapdos. So there's a chance that Goodra and things like that do outspeed me if he runs a lot of investment in those. That's very iffy, but again, I didn't really need to outspeed a lot of this stuff, so I was okay being more bulky. Next set we're going to be bringing is our Florges here. We're bringing the Calm, kind of mixed defensive, max HP, a lot of special defense, so we can take Boom Burst from Specs Exploud, Wish, Moonblast, Protect, Defog. Defog's really important in this week. I want to make sure he does not get his rocks up, so I have Defog on there on a pretty reliable Pokemon. This is my main switch into Goodra, also my main switch into Zapdos if I need to. And it's really the only thing on my team that's going to handle Exploud. Scarf Exploud, I can sponge hits all day. Specs Exploud, I'm in trouble. So Florges is really my best bet to deal with that. Next Pokemon is going to be the core focal point of the team, which is Talonflame, who I've been trying to get some action this season, and this is the matchup for it. Show me a switch on his team to a Talonflame, and I say he doesn't have one. Swampert, I mentioned earlier, needing to weaken that thing. That is the best switching he has, and Zapdos. But the beauty is, if I get a Swords Dance up, I'm carrying Fire MZ. Fire MZ, Flare Blitz 100% of the time. One-shot Zapdos if I'm +2 speed, or I'm sorry, +2 attack. I'm doing about 60 to 70 on that Swampert, so just a little bit of damage on Swampert puts us in Brave Bird range if I can get the Swords Dance up. And Talonflame really threatens his team out, so I'll tell you what, you're going to see in a second what my core strategy is going to be, but Talonflame should be the one to either break or clean this game because it just looks so good against him. I mentioned being a little nervous about the Clefairy. Clefairy is setup fodder all day for this thing. I mean, he could bring HP Rock or whatever, but you're losing a move slot. So, Talonflame comes in on Clefairy all day. I can Roost. and it's pretty important. But this thing, and again, we talk about the speed tiers, I actually get to run Adamant instead of Jolly, which is really nice. So I can run max attack with Adamant. Making his season debut is going to be Shadow, which is our Zoroark. We're bringing a Choice Specs Zoroark baby with the Naive Nature. I've got a little bit of attack, max special attack, enough speed for Zapdos and Medicham. My lead is Zoroark in this match. There are very few instances of team preview that I would say, okay, I'm not leading Zoroark, because Choice Spec Zoroark actually runs through the team. I'm going to pretend Zoroark is Talonflame on the first turn. My hope is that he leads Swampert, thinks that he's safe and clicks Stealth Rock. I then Night Daze and two-shot the Swampert, at the very least, dent the Swampert extensively, and then dent something that switches in. I've got the U-turn there in case I think that's a bad play and I just want to U-turn out. I've also got the knockoff there, which is for primarily Goodra and Clefairy, the two main things that would switch in. And then we've got Memento, which is very cool. If I can get an opportunity to get a Memento off mid to late game, if my disguise is broken or whatever it may be, that could open the door for Talonflame to come in and then promptly go for Swords Dance. I can live a HP Rock or a Draco Meteor at -2 from the Goodra, a Rock Slide, all those things. Talonflame lives those hits, gets up a Swords Dance, and then can proceed to sweep. It can also proceed to Roost and try to nullify some of that damage, hope for a miss, whatever it may be. We have those options there. And we are going to outspeed the entirety of his team. I was originally going to disguise this Kyurem as my lead, but Kyurem displays the message for Terravolt, and Zoroark would not do that if it was disguised as Kyurem, so it kind of is a giveaway. I have him in the same Pokeball as Talonflame as well, so I've kind of covered my basis there to ensure that you cannot tell that this thing is not Talonflame. It's going to look like Talonflame. I don't know what he's going to think. Again, if he leads Zapdos, then he probably thinks he's good. I just go Manectric. If he leads Goodra, I go Florges because I have to be mindful of Scarf Goodra. If he leads Swampert, I Night Daze. If he leads Doublade, I Night Daze. If he leads, Tangrowth, I Night Daze. If he leads Exploud, we go Florges. I have a pretty good idea. If he leads Medicham, he probably has to switch out because he has to be very mindful. You don't leave in a Medicham on a Talonflame that could flame body you if you fake out. So I have a pretty good idea of what we're doing there with the Zoroark. This thing's job is not to just win the game for me, but it is to just dent something early game. If I can dent that Swampert, if I can get rid of Doublade, if I can, weaken something. And don't forget, Night Daze has a 40% chance to drop accuracy. That can be massive. If he misses an attack, that could give me the opening I need to potentially fire off a second Night Daze or whatever it may be. And then last but not least is going to be Skarmory this week. We're bringing a max defensive Skarmory with the weak armor. So for those who don't know, if you get hit by an attack, a physical attack, weak armor lowers your defense and then raises your speed by 2 stages. So if I get hit with a fake out, high jump kick, a bullet punch, whatever it may be from Medicham, all of a sudden I'm living the hit, I can live a high jump kick, and I'm faster than the Medicham. So my team has no switches to Medicham at all. All of a sudden I have a Pokemon that can switch into Medicham and then be faster than Medicham and then threaten it out immediately. And if he stays in, he dies to Brave Bird. If he switches, I just Toxic or whatever. So we're good there. One thing else that I think is really cool in this situation is his best switch into Skarmory is always Zapdos. Let's see the scenario. Medicham comes in, it goes for high jump kick. Skarmory comes in, takes the hit. Rocky Helmet weakens the Medicham ever so slightly. I'm just looking for a little bit of damage, 15-20%, to allow it to be knocked out from Thunderbolt from Manectric later in the game. He weakens me down and he goes, okay, I don't want to lose my Medicham. I'm going to go to Skarmory. Skarmory comes in. I go for the Toxic, predicting the switch. I Toxic the Skarmory. That thing is now whittled down. It's going to get whittled down. And then he goes, okay, I'm just going to Volt Switch out. It's my best play. I'll Volt Switch on the Skarmory. There's no way he's staying in. And I just Roost because I'm faster than Skarmory. I Roost, I lose my flying typing, and then I'm actually able to live the Thunder hit, or the Electric hit. So some really cool scenarios that can actually take place with Skarmory in this matchup. And it's going to come down to that prediction. Do I Brave Bird on the Medicham, or do I just simply go for the Toxic or Spike or whatever it may be? Again, I don't need to have Skarmory beat Medicham. I simply just need a little bit of damage on that Medicham, so that way Manectric can one-shot it later on with Thunderbolts. That's where Spikes kind of come in as well. A couple different options there. So that's going to be our strategy. Pretty cool stuff this week. Spec Zoroark, Firium Z Talonflame, Defogging Florges, Sub Metronome, Kyurem, Modest, Max, HP Grass, Manectric, and then of course our weak armor, Rocky Helmet, Skarmory. So some cool sets, man. I'm excited for this matchup. I like our chances. I really do. I played about 15 or 20 practice games, and I think I won every single one. Knock on wood. So I feel good about this match. I really do. But you never know. There could be a set that I wasn't expecting. He could, there's always luck involved in Pokemon. There's a lot of factors. He could just simply outplay me. I have a good game plan, though. I think I have the right sets that I need to try to pick up a W here, throw him off guard, and potentially get us to 6-0. So let's do it, aDrive Army. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and get ready for tomorrow's match of WBE Week 6. The Minnesota Vikavolts taking on the Pittsburgh Pichus. I'll see you guys there. Peace.